The embrace was too long, the words a dagger. My fiancée in the hardware store's break room clung to her ex, Jake, confessing her true motive: my money, not my heart. The revelation shattered everything. I called it all off, and the ensuing fallout dismantled the life she'd meticulously constructed. I'm 34, a carpenter by trade, running a modest business in a Montana town where cattle outnumber people. It's just me, two good men, and my cousin handling the books. My journey began at 16, mending barns with my father. Later, Earl, an old-timer, taught me the true art of woodworking, none of that flat-pack mass-produced nonsense, but genuine craftsmanship with honest timber. 6 years ago, I ventured out on my own, building a clientele and a solid reputation. This town is my roots. I briefly tried community college, but my hands always pulled me back to the workshop. My family, generations of ranchers and tradesmen, always valued honest work. We've never been rich, never been poor, just comfortable enough to live well and occasionally indulge. I first saw her at the local hardware store, where she managed the design section. She arrived 3 years prior from Chicago, seeking a quieter existence after city life wore her thin. She helped me select some ornate trim for a wealthy client's cabin, and we started talking. She was, frankly, out of my league. I still wonder what she initially saw in me, perhaps the novelty of a real Montana man. Her confidence was disarming. She seemed to have life all figured out while I was still checking for sawdust in my ears. I'm not refined, never have been, but she never made me feel I needed to be. My calloused hands, my preference for flannel over formality, none of it mattered. She truly listened, her laughter genuine. Being with her felt effortless, authentic, a rare find for a man like me. Our relationship unfolded naturally. I'd take her fishing. She despised baiting hooks but loved catching bass. She'd pull me to community gatherings where, despite being new, she knew everyone. I'd hang shelves in her small apartment. She'd bring me coffee on chilly mornings at job sites, normal couple things. She was always planning her next career move, our future vacations, the house we'd save for. I'm more of a go-with-the-flow type, but I admired her drive. I thought we balanced each other. After 2 years, I proposed on a hike, a simple sapphire ring, a trembling knee. She wept, accepting before I could finish. June 18th was the date, and suddenly I was immersed in wedding preparations, things I never imagined caring about. I build cabinets, lay hardwood, not debate ivory versus eggshell tablecloths. But her joy was infectious. If it mattered to her, it mattered to me. I became a wedding project manager, attending every vendor meeting, asking forgotten questions, scrutinizing contracts, notebook in hand. I even started surprising her with coffee and sunflowers, her favorite, just to see her face light up. We booked a rustic lakeside lodge an hour away. Not five-star, but charming. Massive timber beams, a sprawling porch, a dock stretching over the lake where we'd exchange vows at sunset. She called it her dream wedding, and I believed her. The $20,000 price tag made my stomach churn, but she insisted. We're only doing this once, and I was fully committed. I wanted her to look back and feel she'd had everything she dreamed of. She deserved it. We agreed to split the cost, her parents covering some catering. I took on extra work weekends, late nights, side gigs, sanding floors, mending decks, crafting custom pieces. Some nights I'd stumble through the door utterly spent, but I always made time to ask about her day, offer a back rub, or bring her favorite pastries when she was stressed. Her happiness was my reward, even if it meant less sleep and more calluses. I managed logistics, venue contracts, rentals, deliveries. I even booked a honeymoon cabin in the Tetons. Everything was falling into place. She handled the details: dresses, flowers, invitations, Pinterest boards. 1 week remained, and I felt immense pride. Life was good. I was ready to give her my all. Then it wasn't. 7 days before the wedding, I was sweating through my shirt, finishing a deck for the mayor's sister, when my phone buzzed. Amy, from a different department at the hardware store, a friendly acquaintance, texted, "Hey, I don't know if I should send this, but I think you should see it." Then came the video. My fiancé in the break room with Jake from contractor services. I knew him vaguely, a sharp-dressed guy. They were hugging, a long, body-pressed-together embrace. She was crying, mascara smudged, as he handed her a small gift. I heard him say, "I wish things were different." Her reply was muffled against his chest. My stomach plummeted. I sank onto the half-finished deck, my legs like jelly. "When was this?" I texted Amy. "Yesterday afternoon," she replied. "Look, I'm not trying to start anything, but something feels off." When I asked why she sent it, she explained, "That girl Amy was all in it. She's been nasty to me ever since I got promoted over her, but that's not why I'm showing you. My sister's ex did the same thing with a coworker while planning their wedding. Just don't want to see another good guy get played." I feigned calm, thanked her, said I'd talk to my fiancé. Inside, I was panicking. 7 days out and she's having tearful goodbyes with another man. I couldn't focus, nearly hammered my thumb, had to redo a crooked railing. Maybe it wasn't what it seemed. Maybe Amy was just being petty. But the video, it wasn't normal. That night I casually mentioned Amy's text, watching her reaction. "What did she want?" she snapped, her tone instantly venomous. "Just asked about some lumber for her boyfriend's project," I lied. "You guys don't get along. She's just jealous of everyone," she dismissed, scrolling through Instagram, eyes glazed. "So how was work today? Anything interesting?" I probed. "Same old boring stuff," she mumbled. "Didn't you mention that guy Jake was leaving?" I pushed. She froze, a tiny hitch in her scrolling. "Oh yeah," she said, recovering. "He's transferring to the billing store, little goodbye thing in the break room." "That's nice," I said. "You guys were friends." "Just work friends," she insisted. "He's been helpful with contractor accounts." She abruptly stood. "I'm going to shower before dinner." That's when I knew she never showered before dinner, always after, claiming she felt gross from cooking. The next morning she left earlier than usual, mumbled about an early meeting, kissed my cheek, and bolted before I'd even made coffee. She left her iPad charging. We had each other's passwords, open book, and all that rot. I checked it. Call it instinct. Turns out, no secrets, only worked one way. Nothing in her texts with Jake, they must have been deleted, but a trove of messages with her friend, Kara, about him. "Kara, what are you going to do about Jake?" Her, "What can I do? He's leaving and I'm getting married in a week." Kara, "But you said he's the one who really gets you." Her, "He is, but he's not reliable. Remember how he disappeared for that month when his ex came back? My name would never do that. He's steady." Kara, "So you're marrying safe and stable instead of the passionate one." Her, "A girl's got to think about her future. My name is a good guy. He'd make a great father and provider." Kara, "But do you love him like you love Jake?" Her, "It's a different kind of love, more practical." There was more. Her, "Jake says he wishes he'd realized what he had before it was too late." Kara, "So he wants you now that you're unavailable. Classic." Her, "I know, but when he looks at me, it's like he really sees me. You know, not just what I can do for him or how I fit into his future plans." Kara, "And my name doesn't see you that way." Her, "He loves the idea of me. The pretty fiancé who will give him cute bobbies and make his house a home. I'm not sure he knows the real me." Kara, "The real you that's still hung up on Jake." Her, "I'm trying not to be. I really am." My hands trembled. More texts going back months. Coffee breaks several times a week. Nothing explicitly physical, but the emotional betrayal was stark. I was the safe option, the backup plan, the dependable provider while she yearned for someone else. And then, the final blow, an exchange from weeks prior. Kara, "You think he'll ever leave Montana?" Her, "Doubt it. He thinks building people's decks is enough." Kara, "That's sweet." Her, "Sweet doesn't pay for beach houses." She didn't just see me as safe. She saw me as small. The life I'd built with my own hands, merely a phase she was enduring. 5 days before the wedding, everything paid. My parents already here from Wyoming, her family arriving tomorrow. What the hell was I supposed to do? I spent the day in a daze, nearly taking off my thumb with a circular saw. My buddy Phil noticed. "Dude, what's going on? You're a mess." I showed him the texts. Phil read them, his face darkening. "Dude," he said, "you can't marry her." "But everything's paid for," I argued. "Everyone's coming, 5 days away." Better to lose the deposits than lose half your ass in a divorce in 5 years when she leaves you for this Jake guy or someone else, he countered. But what if I'm overreacting? Pre-wedding jitters. Phil looked at me as if I'd grown another head. Read those texts again, man. She straight up told her friend she loves this other dude more than you. That's not jitters. That's her settling. I knew he was right, but I needed to hear it from her. I needed a chance for her to explain, to tell me it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe some missing context. 4 days before, I asked her to meet me at our spot, the little pier where we first fished. A public place, I figured, would keep us calm. She seemed confused but agreed. I arrived early, sat at the end of the pier watching fish jump, trying to formulate my words. She pulled up 15 minutes late, clearly annoyed. "What's so important it couldn't wait till after work?" she snapped, her heels echoing on the dock. She sat down, leaving half a football field between us. "I have a million things to do before Saturday." I didn't turn. "I saw the video, you and Jake, break room." She froze. "What video?" I showed her. The awkward, prolonged hug, the gift, the smudged mascara, her face contorted, calculating a spin. "Amy sent you that, didn't she?" she finally said, looking up. "Jesus, that girl is obsessed with me. She's just pissed because I got the design lead she wanted." "I'm not here to talk about your drama with Amy," I said. "Explain what you're doing in the video 4 days before our wedding." "It was his last day," she snapped. "Jake and I worked together for years. It was emotional. He gave me a goodbye present. I teared up. That's literally it. And I wish things were different, just came with the gift wrap." I asked. She paused. "You're blowing this up." "I read your messages with Kara," I said. That hit. Her face fractured. "You went through my stuff. You left your iPad on," I countered. "The same iPad you used to talk about how I'm the safe choice, the provider, the guy you're marrying because he's steady." She stared at the water as if ready to plunge in. "It's not what it looks like," she said. "Really, because it looks like you're marrying me while emotionally orbiting someone else." "I do care about you," she said. "You're kind, reliable. You're the type women wish they ended up with. But I'm not Jake," she sighed. "Jake's chaos, your stability. You're the one who'd actually show up. He wouldn't even know how to build a life. You do." "Look," I said, "I'm not building a life with someone who's looking backward the whole time." Her tone sharpened. "You're seriously doing this 4 days before the wedding? We've paid for everything. Guests are already on their way. My dress is at the tailor, the venue, the catering, the music. It's all lined up. You don't get to just back out." I turned to face her. "I do when the woman I'm marrying says I'm plan B with a toolbox." She scoffed. "You think marriages survive on butterflies? No, they survive on teamwork, compromise, and picking someone who won't vanish the minute things get hard. That's what I picked. That's what you are." I shook my head. "You picked a fallback, a guy who wouldn't question you. You thought I'd just smile, nod, and pay the bills while you mourn some loser in secret." "That's not fair," she snapped. "I've been stressed. Okay, it's a big decision, but I chose you. I said yes." "You said yes to security, not love," I stated. "Oh my God, Jake, you're being impossible right now." Dead silence. She didn't catch it at first, but I did. "The last thing you expect is your bride calling you by another man's name before your wedding." My jaw tightened. "What did you just call me?" Her mouth dropped open. "Wait, I didn't know you did," I said, standing slowly. "You just said everything you didn't mean to say." "Look, please," she pleaded. "We can fix this. I made a mistake. I panicked. But we can still go through with it and figure things out after." "I'm not signing up for a lifetime of being someone's insurance policy," I said. "The wedding's off." "You don't get to just say that like it's nothing," she yelled, standing too. "People are coming. Your family already flew in. What am I supposed to tell everyone?" "Tell them the truth," I said, my voice calm. "You called your fiancé Jake 4 days before the wedding. If that doesn't explain it, I don't know what does." I walked away. She called after me, but I didn't turn. In my truck, I sat for a minute processing. Then I drove to Phil. I couldn't be alone. The next 3 days were pure pandemonium. First, telling my parents. They'd driven 500 miles, staying in my spare room, excited for the wedding. Breaking the news felt like confessing a crime. "Mom, Dad, there's not going to be a wedding." They stared, confused, as I explained. My mom teared up, not for the lost wedding, but for my pain. My dad, a man of few words, nodded solemnly. "Better to find out now than later," he finally said. They were confused but supportive. Dad said he'd never seen me look so certain. Mom hugged me for a long time, then went into practical mode, calling relatives. Then the lodge. The manager was understanding but couldn't refund the deposit this close to the date. Fair enough. I'd accepted the money was gone. I canceled the honeymoon cabin too, no refund. Another chunk of savings down the drain, but still cheaper than a divorce. While canceling the honeymoon, I found she opened a joint credit card in both our names without my knowledge. Almost $8,000 in charges, mostly wedding stuff, but also a fancy laptop and a vacation package for next winter, a trip I knew nothing about. I immediately called the credit card company, explained I never authorized it, and initiated the fraud process. Thank God we weren't married yet. It made things legally much simpler. The rep warned it might temporarily affect my credit score, but that was preferable to being on the hook for thousands. The hardest part was calling her parents. I'd always liked them. Her dad taught me to fly fish. Her mom always sent me home with leftovers, called me hun like I was family. I owed them the truth. Her dad answered. "What's wrong, son? You sound upset." I explained my discovery and decision. A long silence, just his breathing. "I'm sorry, son," he said. "She's always been calculating, got it from her mother's side." He sighed. "We'll talk to her. Thank you for having the decency to tell us directly." A weight lifted, knowing at least her parents understood, even if disappointed. Meanwhile, my phone exploded with her texts. "You're making a huge mistake. We can work through this. Please don't tell anyone what you saw. Let me explain to them. Jake means nothing. I choose you. Answer your phone. We need to talk about this. You're throwing away everything over a misunderstanding. My parents are furious with me. Is that what you wanted?" I ignored them all. Instead, I packed a bag, loaded my old camping van, and told my parents I needed time away. Dad slipped me cash, told me to find clarity in the mountains. Mom packed enough sandwiches to feed an army. They understood. Bless them. The day before what would have been our wedding, I was setting up camp in Yellowstone when my phone dinged. "Phil, dude, you won't believe what happened. She's telling everyone you had a family emergency and that the wedding is postponed, not canceled. Her folks look miserable but are going along with it. Freaking weird, man." I told him if she wanted to embarrass herself, let her. That night, friends back home sent videos of a single survival party in my honor, degenerates setting fire to a cardboard wedding cake in Phil's backyard, like the 4th of July. They made dumb toasts, dodging bullets, seeing the red flags, full fourth quarter comeback, baby. Down by 20, no timeouts, and still walked off the field like a damn MVP. I hadn't laughed in days, but that broke something loose. It felt good to be the guy who didn't fumble at the goal line. More texts from her. "I talked to your parents. They think you're being hasty. The venue called. They need final numbers tomorrow. Everyone asking where you are. This is humiliating. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Did you really cancel our honeymoon? That was half mine. I'll be at the lodge tomorrow. Please be there. We can still fix this." I turned my phone off and savored the moment. The day that should have been our wedding was surreal. I kept my phone off, hiking deep into the backcountry where there was no signal. Around sunset, when we would have been saying our vows, I found a high point overlooking a valley and sat there, watching shadows lengthen, feeling strangely peaceful. Later, back at camp, I turned my phone on. It exploded, texts, missed calls, voicemails. I ignored most but listened to one from Phil. "Dude, you missed quite a show. She actually showed up at the lodge in her dress alone. Told the small group of guests that you had a family emergency, but that you guys would reschedule soon." Her parents stood there looking like they were at a funeral, not a wedding. Her dad ended up having to cover all the venue deposits and apologize to everyone who showed up. She kept it up all day, taking photos by the lake, fake smiling through conversations. Jake didn't show, of course. I stayed just long enough to confirm it was as awkward as it sounds, then bylaid, "Call me when you can." I didn't call anyone that night, just sat by my campfire processing. Over the next few days, more details trickled in. According to Phil, who heard it from his girlfriend who worked with my ex's cousin, small town, remember, Jake had taken the transfer to Billings a week early to avoid the whole mess. Smart move on his part. About 2 weeks later, her maid of honor, Sophie, whom I'd always liked, reached out. She finally gotten the full story from Kara and was disgusted. I had no idea what was really going on, she told me. She made it sound like you just got cold feet, but Kara showed me the texts. I can't believe she was playing both of you like that. She ended up telling everyone in their friend's circle what really happened. One by one, people started distancing themselves from my ex. Not because of the Jake thing specifically, but because of how she handled it, the lies, the manipulation, the refusal to accept reality. Meanwhile, she'd apparently had a meltdown at work, screaming at Amy in front of customers, accusing her of ruining her life. She got suspended for a week. When she returned, she found out Jake had requested she not be allowed to contact him at his new store. That triggered another scene that finally got her fired. The texts started getting nasty. "You ruined my life. You could have just gone through with it and we could have worked it out later. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what an ass you are. All this over a stupid hug. You're pathetic. You had no right to tell my parents. That was private. I'm keeping the engagement ring. Consider it payment for humiliating me." I didn't respond. I forwarded the threatening ones to a lawyer friend who sent a formal cease and desist letter that shut her down fast. The ring thing annoyed me. It wasn't expensive, but it was my grandmother, reset with a new stone. But I decided it wasn't worth the fight. Let her keep the physical reminder of what she discarded. For a while, I just drove, moving from campsite to campsite, taking each day as it came. I picked up independent contractor gigs through an app, helping people with decks, fences, furniture assembly. Turns out, there's good money in being the guy who shows up and fixes things for wealthy tourists with rarely visited vacation homes. I ended up selling the honeymoon cabin reservation to a desperate Utah couple. I used the money for a set of premium cordless tools and a new rooftop rack for the van. If I was going to work on the road, I might as well do it right. It felt poetic, honestly. She picked the cabin to celebrate a life I'd have built for her. I used it to build one for myself. One night, about 3 weeks in, I was parked at a scenic overlook when a park ranger pulled up. I thought he'd tell me I couldn't camp there, but he just wanted to check if I was okay. "Seen your van around for a while now," he said. "Just making sure everything's all right." We got to talking, and I ended up telling him the whole story. He nodded, said he'd been through something similar in his 20s. "Best thing that ever happened to me," he said. "Forced me to figure out who I was without trying to be what someone else wanted." That's when I started thinking about what I really wanted, not just what I thought I should want. My business back home was stable, thanks to my partner's updates. My mortgage was modest, and I had skills people would pay for anywhere. For the first time in my adult life, I felt completely free. And the joint credit card thing worked out. Since I reported it immediately and had proof I didn't sign up for it, I'm not responsible for the charges. She's stuck with the debt, which feels like cosmic justice. My lawyer friend says technically she committed fraud, but prosecuting would be more hassle than it's worth. I just wanted to move on. I had one more interaction with her, about a month after the non-wedding. She showed up at a campground where I was staying. Turns out she'd been tracking my credit card purchases to figure out my location. Creepy as hell. I was at my campsite cooking whatever didn't come out of a can when she walked up. She looked rough, sunken face, dark circles, like life had finally stopped going her way. "What do you want?" I asked, not getting up. "I wanted to see you to explain," she said. She sat across from me without invitation. "I made a mistake, a huge mistake. I miss you." "Which mistake?" I asked. "Emotional cheating with Jake, lying about it, opening a credit card in my name without permission, or showing up at our wedding venue in a white dress pretending everything was fine," she flinched. "All of it," she said. "I was confused, scared of committing, but losing you made me realize what really matters." "Let me guess," I said. "Jake didn't want you after all." Her silence was answer enough. "You should go," I said, turning back to my dinner. "There's nothing left to talk about. "We had 3 years together," she said. "Doesn't that mean anything to you?" "It meant everything," I said without looking at her. "That's what made it hurt like hell, realizing I was just your backup plan." She broke then, full-on sobbing, loud enough to echo off the trees. Then through the tears she threw out one last shot. "You're going to regret this," she sobbed. I shrugged. "I'll pencil it in between laundry and giving a damn." And yeah, it's been about 6 weeks since the day that should have been my wedding. I'm still on my finding myself road trip, camping through national parks, doing odd carpentry jobs when cash is tight. I've found peace in the simplicity of van life. Wake with the sun, hike until I'm tired, fall asleep under more stars than you can imagine. And I can honestly say I don't regret walking away. Some prices are worth paying for self-respect. Currently, I'm waiting for my ex to exact her revenge. Let's see what she's got. I'll keep you updated. Lol. The guy who canceled his wedding here with a quick update. After 3 months living in my van, I returned to town expecting drama. Instead, I got a hero welcome. Old ladies patted my back in the grocery store, saying I did right. Weird, but nice. Business is booming, up 70% since last year. Some tech bros specifically requested the carpenter who canceled his wedding for a custom project. My cousin jokes we should use my almost marriage as a marketing strategy. My ex got fired from the hardware store after her meltdown. Now she's a wannabe Instagram influencer, posting as Montana Glam, all hiking boots and mason jars of wilderness tea. She moved to Billings, where Jake works, showed up at his store, and security had to escort her out. Now she's dating some older dude with a BMW and vanity plates. Bullet dodged. Turns out she had a whole revenge scheme planned, the one she threatened me with while sobbing. 2 weeks after I got back, my biggest client called, saying someone sent them proof I was using cheap materials and overcharging. The proof was doctored photos of completely different projects. She also created fake Yelp reviews, claiming I'd hit on clients' wives and abandoned jobs mid-project. The cherry on top, she tried to convince my landlord I was running an illegal weed operation from my workshop. It backfired when she was caught on security cameras planting evidence that turned out to be oregano in baggies. Real criminal mastermind. The plot twist nobody saw coming. I'm dating Sophie now. Yes, my ex's former maid of honor. After she found out what really happened, she texted to apologize for believing my ex's lies. We met for coffee, which turned into dinner, which turned into me teaching her how to fly fish. One thing led to another, and now we've been together for 4 months. She says she always thought I was too good for her friend but never said anything. My ex went nuclear when she found out, showing up at Sophie's workplace, screaming about girl code. Rich, coming from someone who was emotionally cheating the whole time. Her dad returned my grandmother's ring. He found it in her drawer, he said. We grabbed beers after. Some people don't change, he told me. They just get better at hiding who they really are. The credit card fraud. The company cleared my name and pressed charges. She got fined in community service, scooping dog poop at the shelter where my mom volunteers. Karma's a bitch. I learned that sometimes the life you think you want isn't what will make you happy. My business is thriving. I'm building furniture for myself, and I wake up every day grateful I didn't settle for being someone's backup plan. Trust your gut, fellas. And when someone thinks you're their plan B, make sure you're not.